can rise from ash. Jade, Lavender, and Scarlet Phoenix power. Together we will rise. They tried to burn us, we bloom like a flower. They didn't know we had a Phoenix's power. Phoenix power.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Jade Phoenix. We are back for another fun-filled episode of the Feinics Gate podcast. And first, I'm going to introduce this, and you guys are going to be all super excited for this because they finally have their own entry sound. It's news.
Hello,
Hi.
how's it going?
I told you I was putting all some stuff. And if you didn't hear the outburst, it all
started when I was born.
is Lavender, because of course
Hello.
you're always here.
Oh, it's so great.
I know.
Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca?
Where have you been?
I don't know what y'all do. I don't know what y'all do without me. It's a very, very sad world when I'm not harassing each of you.
That's valid. That's actually a valid point. But yeah, we're back. We literally were just talking about war games and all the other fun stuff, and we're getting closer to Christmas. And what's the big thing? I mean, at least in my lifetime, that I have been asking for since I was old enough to figure out what it was every year since I was a kid. And I'm assuming both of you are going to be the same way, and that's video games.
Oh, hell yes. I basically lived off of my Nintendo DS. My Game Boy. Oh, I had the little pink Game Boy Color.
Oh my
I
god.
love that thing.
I milked the heck out of my Game Boy Advance SP
You what?
to the point that the buttons just wouldn't work anymore.
Oh
They were just-
no!
Those bumper buttons just refused. They were just like, I had to get them replaced afterwards.
Emotional damage.
I don't like.
Did your buttons ever get sticky? That used to happen to mine. Like,
no,
I would,
not sticky.
like,
It's
bam.
that they would get squishy. So like you would press them down and it just wouldn't do anything. Like I can't remember how many games that would require me to use my bumper buttons, and I can only use one of them.
Oh no!
Especially when I was using Action Replay.
Well, I'm older than both of you, so my first system was the original Nintendo.
Oh, yeah, the 64.
No,
no,
I didn't have the 64. I had
The
the
NES.
original NES, babe.
Oh, my God. That is so fucking
with
cool.
with the jump rope. I have those. I have them all pretty much. I
Me
have the
too.
jump rope
I
cartridges
still
and
have
stuff.
my original NES, and it still works.
So we're doing a vintage game night. That's already now on the table for all of the Phoenix Nation to listen to.
Yeah, we'll stream it too.
Fuck yeah.
We'll stream it on our Twitch. We'll do vintage game night with the Feinics Gate. No, I'm not kidding. We have a Feinics
no.
Gate Twitch. And we've been promising our poor travelers for years that we would start streaming more. The actual last person to stream for fully on the Feinics Gate was the one of our original voices, Josh Feinics.
Okay.
Yeah, he used to play, I think it was Overwatch. He used to do Overwatch streaming on our Twitch. You can actually see clips of that on our YouTube channel. Yeah.
So, moral of the story is we need to update that Twitch.
And the other part is you need to follow us on all our different social media platforms.
Because then you won't miss when we relaunch Twitch. Whoa.
Explosion!
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I'm really fucking with these new sounds, by the way.
I know. I updated
Really
our
fucking with
board.
them.
We are trying out a new system as well, travelers. So please forgive us as we are literally learning and growing on the fly. We are now experiencing this new thing that our roadcaster is offering us called Call Me. And it allows me to talk to Lavender and News when I am not with them physically, which is great because we were doing it over the phone via three-way call, and that is trash when you live in a neighborhood that has a dead zone.
Rest in peace, fucking Spectrum and Queens.
Fucks you, Spectrum, you piece
Fuck
of shit.
Spectrum. And I'm so jealous of the border because apparently in Rego Park, they give FiOS.
I know. I'm supposed to be able to get
Oh, wow.
FiOS in this neighborhood. FiOS, if you are listening, and you should be, fucking sponsor the Phoenix Gate or give me FiOS internet so that I can properly run my business. Thank you.
Please and thanks.
Okay. So, okay. We've gotten our first systems out of the way. I want to know what, like, okay, so you had your first handhelds was the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advanced for you two? Because I had the Game Boy, the original Game Boy, and then I upgraded later on to the Game Boy Mini.
And mine was Game Boy Color. And I remember because it was hot pink and it was the big rectangle one. It was like a brick.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was the coolest thing on the face of the planet because my mom had gotten for me. We all know JKR is trash, but
Yeah.
I loved the Harry Potter movies and I loved the Harry Potter books, especially growing up. And she got me the Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets.
Is that a video game?
Or yeah, they had a video game for my Nintendo Color, and it was so fun because they actually followed the storyline of the book on top of the movie. So I thought it was like the coolest thing since sliced bread.
What about you, Crimson?
For me, I believe I would say my first. I think I want to say my first console had to have been either. Handheld was the Game Boy Color. I had the teal, and then I had the PlayStation 1. Which I played the hell out of those, and then we eventually got a computer, but I didn't really play too much on that. But it was mostly on consoles and a handheld.
Burn all the babies! Why not?
And then my first console was GameCube. I had the GameCube.
Yeah, which I gifted to you 2
Yes,
years
and I love
ago. I think it was our
Yes,
first
I
undiscovered
know.
realm.
It was, and I literally love it. And I've been searching everywhere to get more games for it. So right now I'm on the hunt for Sonic Heroes and the OG Mario Kart Double Dash.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure there is a retro game store that's actually close to where I live. Digital Press. They have 2 locations.
So we're flying to Crimson's Nest, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Or Crimson can go over there and see, and maybe that could be like a Christmas or a birthday present for Lavender.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you still should come and see it, regardless of the fact.
Yeah. Regardless, a road trip for the Phoenix Gate is never unheard of. But
Yes.
the reason why I'm asking what everybody's firsts were, because not only do I want to know what took your video game virginity, we're going to be talking a little bit about video games and the history of in today's show. So the fun thing about the history of video games, believe it or not, like they actually started in the 50s and the 60s as computer scientists were beginning to make simulations on actual computers, like simple games, little simulations. They did it on mainframes and mini computers. The first game, technically, was created in 1962 by MIT student hobbyists called Space War. And it was literally one of the first games to ever have a video display.
Mm-hmm.
But the first consumer video game hardware was released in the early 1970s. And this was called the Magnavox Odyssey. And it was the first home video game console. And these are the first ones to show the games like Computer Space and Pong.
Yeah.
Did the Atari come after that?
Yes, it did. So
Ah.
the mid 70s is when we had low-cost programmable microprocessors, and this is what replaced the transistor logic circuitry of the earlier games. And this is how we got our first ROM games, cartridge-based consoles. And this is now where Atari comes in. And this is not what started literally the golden age of arcade video games, which also is, the hard big oh my God, cabinets that we are going to see when we go to MagFest in January.
Yes.
The cabinets are so cool. They're awesome. I'm telling you, Crimson, you are gonna absolutely fanboy the fuck out over
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I built one before, so it's
oh,
not.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just you wait.
Take that, depression.
I was actually able to build one back when I was in college, and
Yeah.
we ended up having like a whole bunch of like student-made games put onto there. I helped with like the physical part of it, which was just putting all the wood together.
Nice. But it's cool because the Atari actually gave us Space Invaders and Pac-Man. So, and it's
I love
really,
Pac-Man.
I love it because in 1983, the video game crash in the United States was characterized by a flood of too many games, often poor or cloned, and the competition from inexpensive personal computers and new types of games were being developed for them. So this is what actually brought Japan to turn around and take the leadership of the market. And this is how we got the Nintendo Entertainment System. And it was released here, same year I was born, 1985.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm actually the same. I'm actually a week older than the NES because the NES and Super Mario and all those games came out a week after I was born.
Okay, but that is like the best fun fact to be able to share with anybody ever.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually, when they had the 30th anniversary, obviously 10 years ago, they re-released the Super Mario game console for the Wii. So this is back when they had the original Wii, people. And I did have it, still do. But
I loved Wii.
I did too. And they had released a special Wii edition 30th anniversary of Super Mario for the Wii. I have that sealed, never opened it.
You've never opened it?
No.
Thanks for another forgettable experience.
Well, speaking of fun facts, I actually have a really great fun fact about Nintendo.
Tell me.
So, Nintendo actually started as a playing card company in 1889 out of Kyoto.
Yes, I did know this.
I thought it was so cool, and they had a Hanafuda cards.
Yeah, I know a little bit more of the history and the backstory behind that.
Tell us.
I'm
A
a
lot of
half-mast.
A lot of people don't really.
This.
Nintendo's a bit hush hush on that, but a lot of people were. Let's just say they did make their money starting off with trading cards.
Oh no.
These types of trading cards did have nudity on them.
Kinky.
And they sold them to people who went to their love hotels that they had.
Oh,
Yes.
The-
in men's in big fancy suits.
oh! I think I'm picking up what you're putting down.
So they
Yeah.
sold porn. You're
Porn
basically
cards.
they sold porn cards.
Porn, but functional decks, but they just had nudity on them.
Oh my god. Were they
But,
like was it like actual like pictures or was it like the old school like Japanese wooden
I
block style
don't-
paintings?
No. It was actually trading cards, like actual like a deck of cards, like what is it, 52 cards, I think, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
there's 52 cards. No, what I'm asking
Yeah.
is the pictures that do you know if the pictures featured on them were
I
Japanese
did-
blocks? Like they had some pretty graphic sex scenes from Japanese blocks from like years ago.
I don't remember. All I remember reading up on it, it was that they it's funny. You don't really know a lot until you start digging deeper. On surface, from face value, it'd be like, oh, they start selling trading cards at their, hotel and everything. And then you start looking into it, it's just like, oh.
There's vaginas. There's
No,
boobs.
there's just nudity, and they're selling them at their love hotels.
Hey,
So-
baby. Hey,
Which was
baby.
actually kind of funny. Reading up on that, and I was just like, it's funny. I actually saw it from another person who was covering the content. Usually it's like this guy. I keep forgetting his name, but
Yeah, we don't need to shout him out.
No, of course, but he usually does this sort of thing where he kind of like calls out a lot of big companies, and not in like a trying to tear them down type of way. Just like, so what was up with this? And he kind of plays in like the character
Oh my
of
god.
like the company and then himself. He's just like, so what are you doing?
Oh my god. This
Uh,
this is fantastic.
and he did cover Nintendo and how their trading cards were
Kinky.
kinky, but I guess just pornographic. Yeah, just a little pornographic. Just a little bit.
Little
Little
bit.
bit.
Little bit.
You done
And
goofed.
oh man, that was probably one of the funniest things I laughed about. I was just like, really, wow. I mean, hey, you gotta make your money somewhere, I guess.
I mean,
As
hey,
long as it's not hurting
I
nobody.
thank you, Nintendo, for selling your pornographic play cards because it gave me my video games. So I don't give a fuck how they got started. I am glad they are where they are and have been for over 100 years.
It's funny how the whole dynamic shifted to kids now.
Crazy.
That's the part that makes me laugh the most. It's just like, so you guys went from making these types of cards.
Well, those
for
type of
games.
how do we know that those
And
type of
then-
cards didn't lead to making kids?
True.
Listen.
I'm
I'm not gonna deny that at all. So, but still,
You what?
I don't know. I just find it very funny though. But yeah,
Nintendo's
that
been
was
making childhood.
Yes, our childhood was rooted in sex. It does
Yes.
not matter. That's how it is. We started from sex, we continued through sex, and now we have video games that originally didn't have sex, but eventually became so much fucking sex instant. What? But so what's cool about Nintendo is they brought the original NES system here, and then the latter part of the 80s and the 90s, which I remember, included the video game wars, which was basically who could give us more and improved things faster in computers and consoles. And the competition between Nintendo and Sega was fucking fierce. And Nintendo was the leader of that because not only did they get the NES out first before obviously the Sega Genesis, they also got the Game Boy out before we had the Sega's equivalent, which was it the Game Gear?
for VR.
For the handhelds from Sega, was it the Game Gear?
Oh man, I
I remember this. It was a handheld Sega game console. I'm pretty sure it was Game Gear, but now my brain.
It's weird because like their naming and everything on that stuff, like Sega games, they did great.
Yeah, it's the Game Gear.
Okay, so I'm not
It's
crazy.
The
not
hardware,
crazy.
they went weird with names and then with functionality a little bit. Besides the Genesis. The Genesis, they were getting something good and then they kind of
Well, I'm sorry. I love both systems. I always have. And what's cool is that in our early 1990s, around the same time that they started really, really, where I like to call like the advanced computer age, is where we started getting graphic cards for PCs. And they changed those graphic cards and they gave us real-time 3D polygonal graphic rendering, which is how we got Toy Story.
yes.
Which Lavender, Toy Story came out, I believe, 1996.
I can let you know actually right now.
Story
'cause I
is
think I
1995.
Okay, so Toy Story was 1995. Cool.
Yes,
have the CD.
but it was towards the end of 1995, so you were really close. It was November, late November of 1995, like that Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes, and I remember it. I remember because again, I remember this because I was 10 at this time. I had turned 10 earlier that year, and I remember this movie coming out. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, travelers, is literally because this movie gave rise to a lot of the computer systems, the game systems that we love and adore because it was a completely computer animated movie.
I believe it was one of the first.
It was the first.
Yes.
And it was done by Pixar.
Yes,
and they were a
before
separate company at that point.
they were a
I
separate
believe.
company from Disney. They weren't conglomerated yet, but they were still it was still a Disney movie.
Yes, but they hadn't bought out Pixar yet. I actually believe it was originally owned by Lucasfilm.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. But
And then they ended up buying Pixar and Lucasfilm. So
it's-
I guess they all still technically are all together.
It's true. And what I love the most about this is that we started getting CD-ROMs in the 90s, in the mid-90s. And I don't know if a lot of you will remember the CD-ROM, as it was like, you probably weren't. And again, I'm just going by my advanced age here because, you know, I'm an old lady. You guys probably weren't old enough to use some of the old shit that we had. And by the time that you were old enough, it had become even more advanced than it was when I started using them.
No, yeah, I remember specifically one of my first, we had all the Disney CD-ROM games. And what they used to do was the Disney movies used to sometimes come with a CD-ROM with the movies, or the movies were built in, they built in CD-ROM games into those original like DVD discs, but that's going a little further.
Yeah.
But my first one was, funnily enough, Toy Story 2. I had the CD-ROM, I remember very, very vividly, for Toy Story 2, and I thought it was so cool because they had a whole level where you went through the airport.
So
when they're in that luggage area.
Oh, nice. So I can remember this because we had we had computers, obviously. Like, my family was one of those people where, like, if it was a new technology, we had our hands on it. We loved that shit. And so we had the NES, we had the Sega Genesis. When PlayStation 1 came out, we had it. Because, believe it or not, my stepfather is a huge gamer.
You know what? I could see that for him.
He was. We would have to fight him to get him off the Nintendo when I was a kid. Oh, I'm not kidding. We had to physically wrestle him, and then he would let us play.
I love that for you, though.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's such a great, like, it's like the gaming genes were built in
Well, yeah.
from the ground up.
Well, I've always loved games because even when I was little, I had this this computer that was so old school where you had to literally learn how to type in the commands for the games to make it work. Like, so I was doing coding when I was like 6. Okay, I mean, and also keep in mind, like, they would give us computers in school when, like, we had computer class to teach us how to use computers when I was in grade school. And the CD-ROM game that we got was Oregon Trail.
Oh my God, Oregon Trail.
Yeah. So, like, I've literally been playing video games since I can remember.
We used to have that, I remember, at school, because we used to do the same thing. Like, they made you do, like, the typing classes and the computer classes. I was very bad at typing class. That's why I only type with like 3 fingers on my laptop. It's the only way that I can do it. Let's just say that I'm not a person that can rub the top of my head and my tummy at the same time. Okay, it's just
no. She wasn't ready.
But
she
we had
wasn't
Oregon
ready.
Trail, and they had all those leapfrog games for kids. I remember those really vividly, the leapfrogs.
Yeah.
And that was really cool because that kind of leads into how they started making handhelds just for like that kindergarten age
Yes.
of kids.
I do
that were
remember
very
that.
specific to like learning and phonics. I remember having those at school. And then it was I wish I could remember the name of it. I just remember there was like a little robot guy and they were like underwater. And it was another one of those like,
I don't know
let's
that
teach
one.
kids math.
Okay, I
knows?
don't know that one. That was past my time.
It was probably some crazy thing that my Catholic school like found for cheap at a Walmart. Like, who knows?
Return the slab.
Oh my God.
Suffer my curse.
So, what about you, News? Because, like, I remember you said that you also went to Catholic school. Did they make you do computer classes and stuff like that?
Both
Oh.
there and in public school.
Okay. Now, also, did your family have game consoles in the house growing up?
Yes, we didn't have a lot, but it was mostly, I don't know, like it was mostly just the Game Boy, and then afterwards when we had moved, I was able to get my hands on the GameCube. Then from there, I want to say later on, around the time the PlayStation 3 came out, that's when I started just getting every console because I was just like, I'm not gonna be waiting for you guys to get me consoles.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna work to get my stuff.
Fair.
So, but yeah, I'm like trying to think.
Yeah, I can tell. I can smell burning all the way over here.
Yeah. So, and then pretty much like from there, I just started collecting consoles. I've been going more to thrift stores. I've gotten just about everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have just about everything besides maybe like Xbox consoles because I'm not really too huge on them. I'll probably get the original, but in terms of everything else, I'm like,
I'm sorry.
not really too crazy.
Listen.
I love Xbox.
I knew it. That's what I was about to be like. Our Lavender loves her Xbox. I loved my Xbox 360. Fuck everything that came after that.
I have an Xbox Series S, which I really love. But I will say this, a lot of it is because I can sometimes struggle with that hand coordination, like motor skill.
Okay.
So I like Xbox because it's built decently similar to what the GameCube was like. It's a very similar structure, so it's way easier for me to participate because I've tried using PlayStation, and I think it's really sleek, it's really cool. I love all the games available on PlayStation. I just have a lot of trouble with their control functions.
That's fair. That's fair.
So like I would totally move to PlayStation if that wasn't such a big blocker for me.
That's fair.
I know. Sorry, and I know there's also controllers that are also third party, not the cheapo ones that you buy for like $10, but they do have some that are actually, I guess, what's the word I'm trying to look for? More ergonomical, I guess. However you really want to word it.
And they do also make controllers that are for people that have disabilities.
Yes.
Sony is really, really good with that. And I am, because Sony's the reason why Nintendo and Sega, Sony's the reason why Sega got pushed out of the market almost completely and why Nintendo was for a very long time not number one in the game market. So Sony don't fucking play.
No, I've got to say, because when I think about it, I always loved Nintendo. That's usually what we had in our house. But the last big hit I remember from recent from Nintendo, besides Pokemon, anything, is I remember they had such a lull after the Wii, because then they tried the Wii U, and that didn't work. And then they finally, they really, in my opinion, in my kind of, I don't know as much about the video game market, although I love video games, is I don't know it as historically well. I would say they didn't really climb back up until the Switch.
Yes, that's actually true. So by the late 1990s, we also were able to have internet access because AOL and, dial-up became a thing. And all of a sudden we had all this access to these other people in other places. So PlayStation with the PlayStation 2, when they released that, now had the ability, you all of a sudden, if you had an internet connection, you could play with other people that weren't in the room. So that, I think, was one of the big things that I believe changed the way that we gamed forever.
Yes.
Oh, 100%. Because when you think about it, for example, even though I don't do a lot of multiplayer games, I do a lot of online multiplayer play for things like Mario Kart now, just so I can connect with my friend Will over in Florida. Or even I play Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, and I do the multi-level play there, and I play with my brother because I am very stinky at video games, even though I love them. So he'll help me get all of the tasks that I need done for it.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine, I feel even though it's still fun to all play together in a singular space, a lot of the newer generation can't imagine playing video games without that online Steam community type relation to it. I mean, hell, look at Discord.
Discord was created because people wanted to be able to communicate in real time through their computer games, because computers were able to do that because, i.e., the internet access. We're talking about World of Warcraft came out, and all of a sudden you have this gigantic online world where you could talk to these other people, and eventually, as I'm talking to y'all over the fucking internet, you know, it changed. Nintendo itself developed the Wii to fight against the PlayStation and the Xbox for people that are more the non-traditional players like you, Lav.
It was, I would say, arguably, it was even made for a more family-oriented type of console gaming.
Yep, I agree. Completely
Because
agree.
when it came to that, and that's the thing, that's since prior to the Wii, Nintendo didn't really have much else going on for it.
Emotional damage.
It didn't.
So
Xbox
obviously
and PlayStation
Nintendo-
had it fucking beat.
and you know, hardware wise, they did. So they had to find their niche, you know, to make them stand out. That's why right now Nintendo still has the market for handhelds.
Yeah,
for now,
because
you
the
know,
Switch and the
I'll even
Switch
get into
2,
that later.
the Switch and the Switch 2 are like
But I'm gonna
literally the
start-
best.
I'm gonna add more into that later. But
Oh, are you?
oh yes, very much so.
Giggity. I love it when you add things that shouldn't be there.
Shut up.
Pika pika.
You're
a monster.
But no, like when it comes in terms of the market, they had to find their niche. They did.
Yeah.
Problem was the Wii only lasted so long.
Yeah.
And obviously that
Well-
niche only lasted so long too as well because Wii U.
Yeah, I was going to say, they
And-
had the Wii U.
That console was a complete flop.
I didn't have it. It's actually one of the few consoles I don't
Mhm.
have.
And it's probably the reason why it flopped so bad.
Uh-huh.
Now, don't get me wrong. The concept, a lot of people say, was cool. Like, you know, you had the hardware wise, it was a bit underperforming, unfortunately.
It happens.
But the concept was interesting. It was, and I kind of want to say like it was a mistake that they had to make in order to come out with the Switch. And I would say it was probably the quickest lifespan I've seen on a console. It did not last very long because I remember when I started at the company that I'm working at now, it had just released a little bit prior to that, and halfway into the first year of my job, it was already gone. So I was just like, okay, so barely 2 to 3 years, you know, this console lasted. So it was just like, wow, that did not last long.
Well, it does say that the Wii led to the Wii U, and then I'm looking at the information that I've been gathering for today's episode, and it says that they literally followed the same exact model with the Wii in the Switch. They just made it everything that they didn't get to have in the Wii U.
Which is again why I stated they had to make that mistake in order to get to where they're at with the Switch.
So Wii U had to bomb so the Switch could run.
Yeah,
in a
essentially.
way, yeah. In a way, if you think about it, because think about it, if the Wii U did not bomb the way that it did,
Mhm.
it would not force to Nintendo to kind of put things into overdrive and actually be like, okay, we need to put like a better console out than this because obviously we're bombing right now
Yeah.
and profits are not looking good.
Yeah.
That's why there's such a small library for the console. If you actually look at the full library of games for that console, there's very little.
God
Like,
damn.
very little. You can easily get the whole collection of the Wii U games for like there's not that much, you know, depending on certain games, you know, some might be a little bit more expensive because obviously it's less quantity. But
Nope.
yeah.
What were you gonna say, Lav?
I was going to say what's really interesting about that is it also was like, I remember this very vividly. Xbox tried their own version of the Wii.
You talk
And
about
I
the Kinect?
believe
The
Xbox
Xbox Connect.
It was
because we
it
tried
was
that.
also
And the
bad.
biggest problem
Mhm.
with the Xbox Connect was just the technology that they were trying to use on this thing did not measure up to like what was available. And it used to break like all the time because they didn't really necessarily use a controller, like it tracked your body. And like,
So
let's say,
it would essentially pick up it was essentially a camera that just it was weird because like I'm assuming the
yeah,
games that you have for that Lavender, it was I'm assuming dancing games. A lot of them used a
yeah, a
lot
lot
more
of them were like
dancing.
dance.
Yeah, Dance
Yeah.
Dance.
Those were mostly the games that even incorporated that into their controls. Any other games you didn't really see. Again, it kind of falls in line with the same thing when it came to the PlayStation Move,
Oh
right?
God.
Those Move
They did their
controllers
own version too.
Everybody tried it in the beginning because it was the big thing. And so
because of after the Wii. Yeah.
yeah, it was a big thing because I remember the Wii had a camera on top
No,
of all
actually,
yes,
it wasn't a camera.
it
It
was
was
a
not
motion it
actually.
was motion detection.
It was an infrared detector, not motion. It wasn't a camera. So essentially, the way it functions, I can explain it exactly how it works.
Oh, can you?
Yes. You would place it
Tell us
obviously
more.
within. You can place it within view. It can either be on top of the TV or below it, just as long as it's facing towards the direction of where the Wii controllers are.
I think we have hit Crimson's like I know
Hyperfixation
everything.
station.
Hyperfixation station, baby.
Listen, I've teared apart these consoles left and right. I know how things work.
Go for it. I want to hear
Um,
everything you have to say.
So when it came to the Wii controls, because the way it picks up, it's through the little infrared detector. At least I believe it should be infrared, but it's not a camera. I can tell you that much. And that's essentially where it pretty much sends out the signals and also picks up the positioning for where the controllers are. When it came to the Kinect, that one I can guarantee was a camera because during a lot of those games, you can see your body outline.
Yeah,
on
that's
there.
how you would pick up all the ghosts.
Exactly. Now for the PlayStation Move, it was a camera too as well that had a speaker and a microphone. They were trying to do a whole bunch of things with that. And obviously the Kinect didn't really last that long. The niche and I guess the kind of like thing that I will say this, I give credit where credit's due. It did bring a little bit more attention to the Xbox. Was it for a very long time? Hell no. People loved it for the moment, but then when they started seeing that there was no other purposes for it, because again, what's very important and a lot of people don't tend to realize, if developers are not utilizing the hardware, it's going to fade away.
Yeah.
It does not matter how cool it is, how fantastic it is. If developers don't have a means or reason to use the hardware, they will not do it. So when it comes to that, that's also one big key factor when it comes to making these consoles and even accessories. Those accessories are a big thing too.
Yeah.
So
it kind of like is actually like you could actually, and this is why I wanted to talk so much about the history before we really you can see as obviously the console wars were all about consumerism because everybody wanted to have the next big thing, the next cool thing, and obviously and this is also where you have the PC versus console wars as well. As everything,
for sure.
Yeah, as everything got stronger, the internet, we went from dial-up, then we had modems, and from modems we went to Wi-Fi and Ethernet and all sorts of things. As that technology grew, the rest of the technology grew, and these companies learned that they know that we will pay the gamer generation that is millennials and Gen Z and now Gen Alpha will pay for these fucking games. And we will pay for these fucking systems. We will pay for these accessories because none of these things that we have been mentioning came with the system. You had to pay extra.
Yeah,
one thing
you
I
had
do
to
want to
always
add
hold
in
them
there.
in.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lavender. I'll add it
Oh no,
right
that's
after.
okay.
No,
I was gonna say,
you
like-
say what you were gonna say. Don't let Crimson talk over you.
No, go ahead.
But I was gonna say like that was one of the biggest things, like, and I think like probably the biggest controversy around that, at least within my like community of games I really love, was the newer Kingdom Hearts game.
Yes.
And they didn't finish the fucking story in the
Nope.
game. And you needed to buy the DLC. And I love Kingdom Hearts. Like, don't get me wrong. I refused to buy the DLC because I was like, you spent all this time making this game and you don't even have all the content in the game that was supposed to be made for the game. I would have rather waited another year and a half
Pull the lever.
to have the full game
I
than
agree.
sit there and be annoyed that you're making me pay
I
like
agree. I
$30
remember,
more dollars.
dude. So I remember, and I believe it was the PlayStation 3 that did this, where all of a sudden you could have microtransactions in your games.
Xbox did it too.
Yes.
Xbox
Xbox.
360 and PlayStation 3, I believe, were the first
And
consoles.
the Wii's too as well. The Wii actually did that for add-ons as well for
Yep.
their games.
Yep.
So
you,
those were the three generations. We could say those were the three
the three
consoles
within
that generation.
Yes, the three consoles that introduced microtransactions to our gaming, where we know.
I'm sorry. One quick side note. PC.
Yeah.
We can also include expansions onto there too as well.
Yes, but PC, we already knew that we were paying for certain things anyway. That the PC gamers were used to this. I'm talking about the console gamers that were not used to it.
Yes.
So console gamers were introduced to the concept of microtransactions. So if you wanted a certain skin for a character, which were originally you could unlock in your games by doing certain things and meeting certain requirements, you now had to buy. You know, if you wanted certain accessories for your game consoles, you had to go out and buy it. This is where things started to get a little crazy, and this is where the meat and potatoes of today's episode is about to come in.
Mhm.
You had to go and buy sometimes a whole new game that you may have already owned, but didn't have the special ability to use your new equipment. So you would sometimes end up with doubles of the same game because they needed to re-release it so that it could be used with the brand new upgrades that you had for your system.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like that's part of the reason now, even with games that I get for my Xbox Series S, because that's all digital, and that's a whole other discussion for to be talked about. Because I have a lot of personal feelings about digital. Like I like the storage capability of digital, but I do not like that if suddenly it's off their library, you could possibly lose your entire game library.
Thank you.
Similar to how,
That's
to
not
how
even
streaming is
possibly
used.
anymore either because they're doing that with Steam already.
Yep.
But yeah,
They just
like
did it. They did it with Drift. I believe it was Drift.
Yep.
It was a racing game, and I think it was a racing game. I think it was something made by EA, something in those regards. It's always has something to do with EA.
Well, EA is going out of business, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but this is what drives me crazy is maybe it's because I'm old school, and maybe it's because every single system I've ever had to have a physical game. Like, I didn't do the downloadable games. I only recently started doing that. And the reason why is because I'm also very conscious of my storage. Because I grew up on consoles that didn't have that, where you had to have fucking memory cards to store your shit.
Yep.
And then, on top of that, they would eventually run out of space, so you had to go and buy more. Okay? And I remember that the big thing with my Xbox 360 was when my internal hard drive got fucking too full, I had to go out and buy in a completely other fucking hard drive just to make the damn thing fucking work. And that's if it didn't get the red ring of death.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay. PlayStation 2 had memory cards. I remember how cool it was when PlayStation 3 came out and they eliminated the memory card feature. And you had internal storage. I remember that.
And I think
But you still
it's
had the
weird.
ability to play. It was still backwards compatible.
It was only it was the first wave of PlayStation consoles that they allowed that.
Yep.
Not all of them, unfortunately. I've
Nope.
tried. The one that I have, unfortunately, does not have that capability.
So, and that's
And-
the other thing that drives me crazy about what we do as gamers now. Because my Switch 2, I love my Switch 2. Got it the day it came out. I'm a hardcore Switch addict. Ask Crimson and Lavender, what is always with me wherever I go?
Your Switch.
My Switch. It literally, I call it my emotional support Switch. It is my ESS. It goes everywhere with me. And so do the physical games, because I never got the Switch version that only was able to do digital. I think, what was that, the Switch Lite?
The Switch Lite.
Yeah.
Because it took out the game cartridge feature.
Yeah.
Which is why it was so slim. And then you had to buy everything through the Nintendo shop.
I hated it. Like, I only have, and I can guarantee you, if you look on my Switch, I think I only have 4 downloaded games. And one of them is Disney Dreamlight Valley.
Same.
Okay.
Because you can only get it from the eShop.
Well, no, they have cartridge too, but you still need, they do, but you still need to have be online to get the features that you want to play. So there's no point in having a fucking cartridge.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Probably
so
why I didn't know I had one.
yeah, I've seen it. I see it advertised when you go to GameStop. But for me, I get pissed because then on top of everything else, the microtransactions are now out of control. Because tell me why, and chat, we're cooked here. Why the fuck does it still cost the same exact price for a digital game as it does for me to have the physical fucking copy of a game?
And you want to know something funny? They a couple of years back too, they had lowered the prices on those just a smidge.
Yeah,
And
they were
then
like $10 less.
They said, "Oh, originally it's because of the cost to, to
Create.
make them and yada yada." And then where's that cost now?
I don't even know.
Exactly. It all costs across
Of the wind.
the sphere. And that's even if they'll even release it. In
Oh,
a
God.
physical copy.
Yeah.
Like, one of my biggest pet peeves is when they're like, "Oh, we're doing a special edition of the game with a steelbook box and the whole 9 yards." And then you get it, and it literally is this beautiful box. You open it, and it literally just has a little slip of paper that's like, "Oh, here's your code to download it."
Yeah.
That is by far the dumbest.
Biggest pet
I
peeve.
remember a couple. Not all games that do that. I can guarantee you that. Not all games do that, but there were a couple that had done that, and I'm just thinking to myself, it's just like, how are you gonna make this huge freaking bundle for the game's release and don't give the game with it? And you just give them a digital copy. The stupidest thing, especially with the steelbook. The steelbook, that's one of the biggest things for me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, that makes no freaking sense. And this is why I also, and I'm gonna go on a rant right now.
Oh, here we
Just-
go.
Go ahead.
Crimson
Go
rant.
ahead.
Crimson
Okay.
rant. Crimson rant.
I really, and I'm calling, I'm calling out Ubisoft because their CEO is the biggest piece of shit I've ever fucking seen in the gaming industry. Because the the thing is, he is stupid enough to say it. Because he's stupid enough to say what I've already noticed and what all the other big CEOs, not all of them, but most of them, are in the process of doing. I've been realizing this for now going on 2 years.
Okay.
When it comes to digital games
Uh-huh.
being pushed and marketed so hard, body, especially
no.
with the whole thing with the bundles and everything, right? Just like
Uh-huh.
Lavender was saying. Ubisoft's CEO, it was maybe sometime at the beginning of this year, midsummer, somewhere around there. I can't give you the exact time, but you could search it up and find it out, whoever's interested in knowing that. But he was stupid enough to say, we as consumers need to get used to not owning our games.
I remember that. And I remember flipping the fuck out about it and saying, who the fuck? Bitch, if I'm spending $70 to $80 on a fucking game, that bitch is mine. Fuck you.
And that type of mindset is why I have such a, let me just say this. With me,
Nah, I'm good.
I have to be willing to be okay if I purchase a game, whether or not if I buy it in digital or physical, I have to be okay with not having it
afterwards when it's digital.
Fuck you.
If it's like a, let's say for example, I'm gonna throw out there like a Call of Duty game or something like that. I don't really care too much. Listen, everybody likes their first person shooter games. The current ones are garbage. I'm just gonna say it how it is.
buddy.
But in terms of, let's just say Overwatch, yeah, no, that I'd rather just keep digital. I'm not that crazy about it because the minute the game stops being in service, those servers go down. There's no access to that unless you decide to go out on your own and make yourself a server. Cool, all right, awesome. There's no guarantee you're still gonna have it. So
Valid.
Again, my point. But
Lavender, are you enjoying this rant?
I am, because I feel this on such an emotional level, especially because my Xbox Series S is the economy version, so I can only get digital downloads of games.
Oh no!
And that's
And I
how they start
fucking
pushing
hate
the
it,
market.
man.
That's how they start
Yeah.
pushing the market. That's how they start pushing it, and then they'll start saying this whole thing. And don't get me wrong, I'm all about saving the environment, and I get that. But what kind of majority of people are crazy enough to throw out their games into the trash like that? Not that
Never!
many. Not that many. So they can keep
Sacrilege.
saying all that stuff, saying, "Oh, it causes a lot of waste." And I'm like, how many people? You have to. I'm just gonna say it how it is.
Say
You
it.
have to be a serial killer psycho to throw out your video games just because you're just bored of it. I'm just gonna say it how it is. You have to be on another plane of like crazy to throw out your games just because you're just not interested in them anymore.
I
Especially
know.
when the market, you can easily resell your stuff and still make a good amount of money. Not all of it back, but a good amount of money. So, but with everything, I'm just like, dude, I'm just getting really sick and tired of not even just the downloadable content of like expansions and this and that and all that other crap, but the fact that these companies have the gall to tell us that we should start getting used to not owning our games, start forcing digital onto us.
Yep.
And not even like, hey, we are only going to be doing digital. Because if they did that, whoo,
Listen.
the backlash.
The backlash, because they're already feeling it a lot, because like the new Hollow Knight that came out, Silk Song,
Yeah.
digital only.
See now, but
Oh.
I'm going to tell you that right now. That is a little bit different.
Why is that different?
What kind of company made it?
Hollow Knight, I believe, is
AAA, indie, or AA, or
honey, I don't know.
I'm trying to. I'm gonna
Fuck
search
your
that up
life,
because
bing
I can tell
bang.
you right now that explains why.
Okay.
Because, and this is where I'm gonna add my next point onto this. This is where indie games are gonna start thriving.
I don't mind
because-
paying for a digital download for an indie game from an
Yeah, that's
indie
different.
company. That is different. If I am paying Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, I want a physical fucking copy of my game, and I want some fucking add-ons for the amounts that we're paying, because the fucking
Yes.
video game prices are out of fucking control.
No, they're
Oh, yeah.
crazy. Like, I constantly, like, for me, a lot of my digital downloads, besides like on my Xbox Series S, are all indie games. Like anything I have from Nintendo eShop, it's all like indie games that I only paid maybe like $12 for. My brother is a big Steam guy. He built his own Steam Deck. Like
Nice.
the thing he wanted for Christmas was he wanted Dispatch. This game that just came out on Steam.
I
It's
know
like,
a couple YouTubers
Yeah.
actually did that. Yeah, which is very
I
interesting.
actually started playing it with Ralph, and it's actually really fun.
Wow.
And I like turn-based story, like RPG games.
Yeah.
So I was buying it for my brother. I'm like, that I don't feel bad about buying, because I'm like, that's like an independent company that's working on it. That's like independent
Yes.
artists, independent creators.
It's
then you
actually
get-
one of the other things that we'll see when we go to MAG is all these
Yeah.
indie games that will be available, hopefully, on a lot of our platforms, whether you play Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, or Steam. So like that again, indie, I'll pay. Major company, kiss my ass.
Hollow
Yeah,
Knight,
like, for
by the way,
example-
it is indie, by the way. So just throwing
It
that
is
in there.
indie.
It is. I figured so.
Okay.
But
Yes.
yeah.
I do remember, but I don't know if they had leveled up since the previous games.
I'm
But
not
no,
s-
they are still indie.
Okay. Good. But like again, I'll support. We're all about supporting small business and independent and all sorts of stuff like that. But like again, and this is why it was so important in the beginning of today's show that we expressed our deep rooted love for these companies and these systems, because now they're just fucking ridiculous. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I haven't turned on my PlayStation 5 in months. I have so many unfinished games that I bought for the PlayStation 5. I haven't turned it on. I haven't played a single one of them because burnout. Tell you the honest to God truth, absolute fucking burnout. Video game burnout, because there's a new game released almost every other month now for certain consoles. You know, and it just comes at you so fast that you'll be so immersed in another game, and then you'll stop playing that game to go play another game. And I don't know if I'm the only person that has this problem, but
No.
if I don't play one of my games for months at a time, I will need to restart the entire game because I won't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'll be lost. I won't remember it'll come to me eventually, like with Monster Hunter, which is one of my favorite console games to play. It took me a little bit to get back into the swing of learning how to do the controls, you know, but it's just so crazy now, and it's hard to keep up. It was hard to keep up when we were kids too, and we thought that $100 was expensive for a fucking console. The PlayStation 5 alone, when it came out, was what? $500, $600?
Yeah.
And that was for a basic PlayStation. And remember, again, they had two forms of this, where you have the one that can play physical games, which is the one that I have, and that is my baby, and I'll kill you if you try to touch my baby. And then you have the digital version, which I fucking hated. I was like, no, fuck you. I'll never get a digital version that does not have the ability to play a physical game.
And that's how they start getting people.
Agreed. Because it was $100 cheaper for that.
That's how they start getting people, is when they start pushing things to be cheaper. This is how they're slowly transitioning us into only digital.
Evil.
That is how they do it.
What?
And it's also how they're going to start transitioning us into buying more expensive hardware.
Emotional damage.
I don't know how much of everyone else has been paying attention when it comes to Xbox and their console.
I haven't
But they're essentially, they've been mentioning that their next console is going to be essentially, they didn't say it like, outright, but it's a glorified PC.
No,
That's literally what the fuck it is.
No, thank you.
You're a monster.
If I have a PC already as it is,
I don't want another one.
Why do you think that I want your Xbox branded PC?
I don't want that.
What
It's
is-
called a
what
hustle,
is-
sweetheart.
No.
I don't want that.
It's the most ridiculous thing, because now, and this is something I've been talking about even with my students, and I tell them every time, whenever something new comes up, we usually discuss it sometimes in class while we work on stuff. But me and him were discussing on stuff like this, and we even said, or I said, we're gonna start transferring now. It's still gonna reach now to the day and age where we're just gonna all start transferring over to PC.
Yeah.
Because consoles are gonna be
obsolete,
way more expensive than what it's worth. And not only that, on top of that,
do I hear a Luke?
You do hear a Luke. He wants to join the conversation.
Podcast kitty.
But now he has walked away, now that he's figured that he can't storm the castle.
Of the window.
No.
But just want to end this last part.
Yeah.
But we've done like a whole 180 now on the purpose of consoles.
Yep.
Because I don't think we even discussed this at the beginning. The original purpose of consoles, it wasn't just to put out video games. It was to make video games more accessible to families that couldn't afford a computer.
And families that couldn't afford to go, or maybe didn't have access to an arcade.
That too. But it was mostly computers.
Yes.
It was mostly computers.
Yes.
Because obviously at that time, and still now, computers are expensive. They're not like something that you could just, pull out at least 1,500 out your ass.
My laptop alone
know.
cost $3,000.
I mean,
Yeah.
hell, the reason why I have the Xbox Series S isn't because I don't want physical gameplay. It's because it was the latest Xbox was I think it was Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford it.
Mhm.
And I was like, I need, like, it was especially, and like, everyone here can attest to this experience. I was in like a really bad mental health place when I originally moved into my current apartment like 4 years ago because of the turmoil that was surrounded with the move.
Right, of
That I had
course.
to go to trauma therapy for. And all I wanted was to be able to play video games. I was like, if I get back on playing video games and I give myself this joy that I
Mhm.
need, I was like, it'll make it at least make me feel a little bit better. And
Right.
it did, and it does. But it's crazy because like I would have loved to get a Series X. I would have loved to be able to get physical gameplay. But the Series S, it was almost like $500,000.
Woof.
And at that point, I was like, I cannot afford to get a Series X. Like that's basically my rent at that point.
And that's essential, and it's gonna get worse.
It is going to get worse. And on that note, I'm going to wind us down. I'm going to wrap us up. Again, what sucks is I know we're complaining, but we're going to pay it.
But also, that's so real because here's the thing. We may all be complaining right now, but we're all video game freaks who love our consoles, love our games.
Yep.
The reason we complain is because we care.
Yep.
It's not because we're like, oh, every game sucks and every console sucks. Oh, we're not the Reddit neckbeard.
No.
We're just giving commentary because we love the form.
We're gamers.
much.
It's what we do. We're going to bitch. We're going to complain, but we're still going to play.
Fucking A.
Or,
It's like
or
how
we'll
I
just
complain.
find better ways to play.
Exactly.
Pirating.
New ways
Oh,
to
yeah.
support like indie artists. Like that was one of the coolest things when my brother has always been a big video game guy. And part of the reason he built his Steam Deck was he was like, I really want to be able to support smaller creators and
Agreed.
smaller game companies.
Yep.
Because that's a whole other episode. But video game companies, we need to treat our artists better. We can't keep underpaying them. We can't keep just completely sapping them of all their love, creativity, and resources because that's why we're having all these long wait periods for games if the new Grand Theft Auto will ever appear.
It will not.
Lord knows.
It will not. It's been pushed back even farther now. So
I know.
that game is the mythical unicorn that's never going to come out. Okay? It's never going to come out. It is in the closet farther than Trump is. Get out of here.
The group of us will be in a nursing home quite literally, and that will be the day when Grand Theft Auto finally releases.
Agreed. And then we'll just be like, "Ow, hold on there, Sonny. I gotta go beat up my prostitute for stealing all my money.
Time for me to leave the wheelchair.
Hold on, I gotta go fuck up this pimp.
Somebody get my glasses.
Hold on, I'm gonna beat your ass in this race.
No, somebody grab my goddamn teeth.
I can't do it. I can't do it. My arthritis is so bad I can't control these cars no more. Can't do it.
But it was worth the $1,500 we paid.
On top of the 40 years we've waited.
Fucking A.
Oh my god. But listen, gaming companies, we fucking love you. We do. Just stop treating us like we're dumb and prize pigs that are just going to keep shoveling money. Pokemon is my favorite series of all time, and the last 2 games you've given me, Nintendo, were trash. Okay? I'm going to say it. Violet and Scarlet fucking sucked. I'm bored with A to Z, and the only game that I have enjoyed that you've put out in the recent years is Arceus. So seriously, do fucking better. And that's where I'm going to leave it with that. Crimson, your final thoughts.
I'm gonna say it even further than Nintendo. The gaming industry for AAA companies, just stop. Just stop. And don't even ask me what you should stop doing. You know exactly what you need to stop doing.
You
So
know what you did.
you know what you're doing. So just stop.
That's fair. All right, guys. On that note, if you have any questions or comments or your stories of your own, hit us up on our social media and leave us a freaking comment or something. Or hell, leave a comment on our Spotify. We want to hear your stories about your video game memories. I want to know. Lavender wants to know. Crimson wants to know. But on that note, say bye.
Bye.